should have acted. They're already here. The Elder Scrolls told of their return. Their defeat was merely a delay. To the time after Oblivion opened. When the sons of Skyrim would spill their own blood. But no one wanted to believe they even existed. And when the truth finally dawns, it dawns in fire. But there's one they fear. In their tongue, he's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
Yeah, this bitch is fucking dead. This is a very unceremonious end to her life. She was a good woman. Wait, hold on, is she getting back up? What the fuck? Skyrim is a game whose impact cannot be quantified. I mean, if you were out of your mother's womb by 2011, Skyrim was all anyone ever talked about. I mean, for shit's sake, everything was Skyrim. Even the memes were all Skyrim. Tell me honestly, have you ever even once laughed at the arrow to the knee Skyrim meme? No, that's not funny, it never was. But it was Skyrim, baby, and that's all that mattered. However, ever since this monstrosity occurred, there's been a wide group of people doubting if any Bethesda games were ever really good, even going as far as to attack Skyrim. I mean, how dare you? I mean, really, who are you to doubt the game that got the badass seal of approval from frustrated Joe Gaming? On a real note, though, it's been kind of a hot minute since I've last played Skyrim, and I decided to play through the entire game again to highlight what worked, what didn't, and who gets to the Cloud District very often.
He said it! He said it!
And ultimately decide if Skyrim was as good as you remember.
Our hero claims a warrior's heart. I tell you, the Dragonborn comes.
Now, as with any great Bethesda game, the game starts you off as a prisoner. Now, allow me to sort of set the scene here. In Skyrim, you play as the prophesized Dragonborn, a powerful warrior who has the soul of a dragon, but the body of a man. This gift allows you to kill dragons and absorb their souls to learn words of power. These words of power allow you to enact justice. Oh look, a nice man. Wonder what he has to say.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you don't.
Oh, so you like Cloud, huh? Yeah. There's your fucking Cloud District, bitch. Oh, holy shit, they're all coming! Not even the fucking dragons like this guy. They came down just to fucking celebrate his death. However, that's not all. Alduin, the destined world eater and awesome-looking dragon, has seemingly returned from out of nowhere and is resurrecting long-dead dragons in an attempt to end the world itself. This, along with the civil war of Skyrim between the Imperials and the Stormcloak Rebellion, is the over-the-top badass setting of Skyrim. Now, allow me to just briefly talk about your role as a powerful Dragonborn. While definitely cool, this forced identity has some pros and cons. Pros? It's fucking awesome. Cons, it severely limits roleplay ability. For those who remember Oblivion, you play as just a random prisoner in that game. Oblivion allows you to play as anybody because you start as nobody. The same also applies to Morrowind. Now, you might be confused to how that is the case when in Morrowind you are the prophesized Nerevarine. Well, the answer is quite simple actually. Subtlety. Morrowind and its world barely ever focus on your identity as Nerevarine, thus allowing you to still more or less roleplay as you wish. Meanwhile in Skyrim, you walk outside, murder a fucking dragon, and absorb its goddamn sons of bitchin' soul. After the goddamn mountain starts yelling at you, kids beg for you to adopt them, and every bard in the entire region sings of your praises. In Skyrim, you are a god! Now, while this may be, and I quote, completely fucking awesome, it severely limits your ability to roleplay, because no matter what, you have to be Dragonborn, the chosen one. Also, it can be handled with different levels of degree. Sometimes everyone shits their pants when they see you, and other times act like you have done nothing notable ever. I mean, I went to Nord Heaven to kill Alduin the fucking World Eater, and this dickface wants me to go kill an ice wraith to prove myself? Anyways, next I just want to quickly recap the story. Wait, there's a story? Upon reaching the end of the line, you are about to be executed along with some other unimportant people. Alduin interrupts the party and you escape. Soon after, you find yourself in Whiterun, where you kill your first dragon and discover your identity as Dragonborn. Then, the Greybeards beckon and the Dragonborn cometh. They teach you some shit and then you go find a fucking horn or something. This leads you to locate the remnants of the Blades, an ancient group of dragon hunters. After a bunch of shit and 20 hours later, you fight Alduin for the first time. He loses but manages to retreat to Sovngarde, where he bides his time. So you capture a dragon, force it to take you to a portal that leads to Sovngarde, and with the help of the ancient Nord heroes, you finally defeat Alduin and put an end to the World Eater's plan. Honestly, it's a fairly good story and a very fun one to play through. It does have a few holes in it, sure, but it's a game about killing dragons and shit, not The Godfather, just give it a break. However, it really just isn't as well crafted as the narrative of Morrowind, and I would rank it closely with the story of Oblivion. Overall, it's pretty good. Boring shit out the way, though, let's talk about gameplay now. Now, let's first talk character creator, okay? When starting Skyrim, you start as one of 10 races. Orcs, Argonians, High Elves, Dark Elves, Wood Elves, Imperials, Nords, Redguards, Bretons, and Cat. All with their own unique starting skills, passive abilities, except for the Orc, and special powers. You know what? Let's do an official probably Swifty race tier list, okay? Do not use this out of context, please. First, we got Orcs. Orcs are an amazing race to play for melee builds. They have all the starting stats great for melee, they have an OP-ass power, and, well, no passive ability. Guess Bethesda got lazy. Still, easy S tier, especially for melee builds. Next on the list are the Bosmer, or Wood Elves. These guys aren't, really that good. They have a mediocre stat spread with kind of weak abilities. However, after reading into the lore and learning that they are essentially crazed lunatic cannibals that worship nature, I'll put them in A. After that, the Altmer, or High Elves. These are by far and away one of the best races to play for mages. On the other hand, the High Elves are pompous assholes. Fuck them, fuck you, F-tier trash! After that, the Lizard Folk, Argonians. These guys have a pretty good stealth stat spread, shit passive that lets them breathe underwater. Yay, I get to fucking swim underwater to go nowhere. And a really good power that has them regenerating health in a super speed mode. B tier. Next, we have Bretons. Good build, good magic resistance. S. The Dark Elves are after that. They have a pretty mediocre stat spread, but some cool abilities, so hey. Ooh, mama, now we got the Imperials. Now, Imperials are the dumbest, most motherfuckest race in all of Tamriel. Not only are they effectively bitches for the Thalmor, but they have shit stats. Almost every other race in the game is clearly trying to be a certain playstyle, either stealth or warrior or mage, but the Imperials don't know what the fuck to do. Along with that, they have some dumb fuck passive that allows them to find 2 gold coins and a shit power. Some may call an Imperial the jack of all trades, but I find it more like the jack of no trades and the master of even less. F tier. Oh wow, but you look at that. Both Imperials and High Elves in F tier. Go ahead and guess who I lay my allegiance to with the Civil War. After that shit, though, are cats. Shit passive, worse ability, but they sound cool, and are cats. A tier. Now, Nords are honestly kind of mid. They have a good warrior stat spread, but kind of a shitty power. However, Skyrim does in fact belong to them, and they are damn proud of it.
Get away! Leave me alone! Leave me alone!
You don't stand a chance. Skyrim belongs to the Nords.
Can I get a triple S tier? Hell yeah. Next are the Redguards. Psst. Hey kid, wanna play a shittier orc? Try the Redguard. They're like the same class, but the Red Guard have a weaker power. B tier. And so concludes the race tier list. Put your favorite races in the comments down below, and please keep it appropriate, okay? Anyways, there's more to Skyrim than just character creation. Let's talk combat. Now, I don't exactly believe that it's some wild hot take to say that Skyrim has by far the best combat out of every other Elder Scrolls game. Now, I mean, I enjoy Oblivion, but it kind of just feels like controlling your drunken uncle during a particularly combative Thanksgiving dinner in comparison to Skyrim's combat. And, well, Morrowind, well... enough said. However, just because it has the best combat out of the Elder Scrolls games doesn't really mean that much. For example, series like The Witcher have far more complex and fluid combat systems than Skyrim. So is the combat actually good by today's standards? Well, yes and no. If we're talking pure, is it fun? Well, then hell yeah. Skyrim combat is a fun mess of cool swords and axes, badass spells, and shouts that rock the enemy's world. From a fun perspective, Skyrim kills it. However, from a bit more of a critical perspective, the combat can feel kind of repetitive and a bit stiff at times. That being said, though, I think it does the job well enough the majority of the time, and I have very little to complain about in the combat department. However, once again, there are other aspects of gameplay to consider here, and it's primarily in these aspects that Skyrim gets the most of its flack. For example, systems such as spellcrafting found in other Elder Scrolls games is completely lacking, and the skills and level systems are greatly streamlined and simplified. This is where a majority of the complaints against Skyrim come from, the apparent shallowness of many of these systems in a series where they have been done to a more complex standard in earlier games. And while I certainly can agree when it comes to things like spellcrafting being discarded, I'm not quite sure I would consider Skyrim's simplicity as a true downside. The reality is that simplicity and complexity are not equal to good and bad. For example, MMOs can be pretty complex games. Despite this, every single MMO slurps horse semen through a crazy straw. You tell me, does Asmund seem like he's having a good time? Does he? I mean, come on, does he look satiated? Is he satiated? Meanwhile, games like Minecraft are exceedingly simple in concept and in execution. Meanwhile, Minecraft is great. The reality is that complexity and simplicity are more of vessels for devs to project their game onto. In this way, the complexity of Morrowind suits itself nicely, while the simplicity of Skyrim also suits itself nicely. Whether or not simplicity is bad depends upon what the game devs are trying to accomplish, and I think that the relative simplicity of Skyrim is not a major hindrance at all, and instead led it to be the most popular game in the series by a country mile. While there are things that got left out I wish didn't, I'm also not gonna claim the game is, quote, too shallow, because I believe Skyrim accomplishes what it needs to. Anyways, let's talk guilds. Now, I may have defended Skyrim just now, but there is no defense here. I'm really just gonna have to take a fucking gold star off the whiteboard here. Skyrim guilds are fucking horrible. Every single one of them... Four of them are just really dumb. In Skyrim, you get to lead every guild after completing like one mission. I mean, it seriously makes no sense. What makes even less sense is that you don't even have to be proficient in the guild's associated skills to lead them. You don't have to be a mage to lead the college, you don't have to be a warrior to lead the companions, you don't have to be a good thief to lead the thieves guild. In fact, you can basically fuck up every thief-related mission, and you definitely do not have to be a stealthy assassin to lead the Brotherhood. This is a direct and clear downgrade from the guilds in both Oblivion and Morrowind, where you had to actually be good at certain things to rise the ranks of these guilds. And you don't get to lead them after doing the leader's laundry a few times. Genuinely, if there's any place where Skyrim dropped the ball, it's the guilds. Next, how about exploration and replayability? Skyrim is an extremely replayable game. This is due to many factors, including different races, but what really sets the bar for Skyrim is the amazing exploration and world Bethesda have built here. There just seems to be an endless amount of amazing side content to explore at your own leisure here. From Daedric Princes to Talking Dogs, there really is no end to it. For example, I've been playing Skyrim since like 2012, and only in this most recent playthrough, I have discovered that located within Dragon's Reach itself, there's an awesome Daedric artifact called the Ebony Blade, which I then use to slaughter my own kinsmen in order to power it up in a way that I would describe as both ethical and quite fun. Throughout all these playthroughs, I frequented Dragon's Reach so many times, and I never even knew that it existed. This in and of itself is a testament to how goddamn good the exploration and side content is in this game. Skyrim gets major points in this category. Now is where I would talk about the expansions, but this video is long enough already, so I'll just say that the expansions are good, Mirak is cool, and Serena's hot. Okay, next slide, please. After that, I would frankly be remiss not to speak briefly on Skyrim mods. Now, it's not exactly some closely guarded secret that Skyrim has one of the most expansive and just damn impressive modding communities of all time. I mean, this game feels like it's been more modded than fucking Gmod. There's a mod for literally anything, and I mean anything. The second you get masterpieces like Skyrim belongs to the gourds, you know you have a damn good modding community. The mods for this game alone have kept this game from 2011 going for so long that this game is still popular, and it in no small part owes it to the mods. I suppose one thing I can dearly hope is that in Elder Scrolls 6, the mods are half as good as they are here. All in all, though, we have reached the end of our journey, ladies and gentlemen. There are truly few games that have stood the test of time quite like Skyrim. From fun quests to a cool story to badass weapons to great mods and so much more, Skyrim is a true hood-certified classic. So, yes, if you haven't gathered, Skyrim is absolutely as good as you and I remember. A perfect game, Skyrim is not, but a fun game, Skyrim absolutely is. And for me, that is enough. Anyways, though, ladies and gents, for the 5 of you actually watching, thank you so very much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, feel free to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos on the screen now. If you didn't like the video or learned nothing, feel free to dislike and never watch my channel ever again. In fact, I would get the police involved just to be safe. At any rate, I will see you all as soon as I'm done with my next video. See ya.